Here's the good, the bad, and the ugly from Xbox's 2024 start. Let's discuss. What's up guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that is all about Xbox. Today I want to switch it up a bit. I'm all about trying new things in 2024. I want to take a look back at the month of January with you all, and take stock of the good, the bad, and the in-between stuff that Xbox did over the past couple of weeks. A little monthly roundup and report card, if you will. And as always, if you are a fan of Xbox, whether you are old or new, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and ring that little bell to be notified whenever I post a video, so you make sure that you stay Xbox ready. So let's start off with the good. Let's start off with the positive stuff. Pal World being available on Xbox consoles and on Game Pass is a W. I just did a whole video about it, so I'm not going to go too deep into it now, but I'm really enjoying this game, and many millions of other people are also enjoying it. It remains to be seen how long this game is going to be sort of exclusive to Xbox. And if Microsoft locks us down and says, hey, if you want to play Pal World on a console, you're going to have to buy an Xbox. It could help out Xbox as a platform immensely. As silly as it sounds, this freaking out of the blue Pokemon with freaking guns Ark lookalike game. Some people might argue that the Xbox version is inferior, it's missing features, the performance is bad. I'm seeing articles that the Xbox version is crashing non-stop, and I'm just not seeing it. I've been playing a lot of this game on my Xbox Series X, and I'm just not running into those issues in the same way that I feel like other people are. And speaking of Game Pass, the month of January has overall been a very strong month for the service. We already talked about Pal World. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about it by now. But they also added Hell Let Loose, a really fun World War II shooter. The 2019 version of Resident Evil 2, very solid game. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, now it might not be your cup of tea, but it's always good to see those big AAA games making their way over to Game Pass. This video is brought to you by Star Trek Fleet Command. Star Trek Fleet Command is a 4X MMO that puts you right in the center of Star Trek's vast and exciting universe. Team up with iconic characters from the original series, The Next Generation, and the J.J. Abrams movies as you explore the galaxy and navigate this conflict between the Federation, the Romulans, and the Klingon Empire. Star Trek Fleet Command is a game that you can play on your phone or on your PC. It transfers seamlessly all through your Scopely account. This is a super exciting game for fans of the franchise, and even if you're not, it's an open world space exploration game, and you're going to be constantly embroiled in these battles with these other alliances, and they're always adding new content too. Fans of Star Trek Enterprise can kick off 2024 exploring the aftermath of the temporal Cold War arc in Season 3. Enterprise Part 1 also brings a huge expansion to the X-Borg faction, with a loot featuring new multi-buff Xindi hostiles. They're introducing new Enterprise officers like Trip Tucker and T'Pol. You'll also get 10 more core Star Trek Enterprise missions and some side missions. And just because they feel like it, they'll throw in a 4th builder, Territory Capture Season 2, and new art and music. All of this is available right now as part of the new year. Star Trek Fleet Command is free to play, and it has a really awesome, thriving community. I joined an alliance that was called the Cat Cringe Boys. I probably shouldn't have said that name out loud, but they are all super friendly. Have been super helpful in my journey in starting this game. You can download the game using the link in my description. And if you go to Settings, General, and then scroll all the way down and sign up for a Scopely account, you can use the code WARPSPEED for all sorts of cool rewards. Once you do that, you can jump right into exploring the vastness of space. You can join my alliance, the Cat Cringe Boys, or you can become the leader of your own mighty alliance. Thanks again to Star Trek Fleet Command for sponsoring this video. I'm also going to put Xbox's recent Developer Direct in the good category. I was excited to see the return of this show. It is a format that continues to slap, and the lineup of games was much better, much more exciting this year compared to last. It's cool. It's cool seeing a show focusing on just the games that are coming out in the upcoming future. No reveals of games that are way off in terms of their release date. No ads. It's all about the game. And they followed it up recently with an extended look at Avowed on the Xbox official podcast. That was a super cool segment to see. Big shout out to Jeff Rubenstein and Tina Amini. People really seem to have liked it as well, and I'm hoping that success leads them to do a similar segment with the other 2024 titles. Developer Direct, this extended look at Avowed, that is exactly the transparency that we need from Xbox as fans regarding their first-party titles. There was no shadow drop at this year's Developer Direct like last year with Hi-Fi Rush, but they still had a surprise. Square Enix showed up and was like, yo, the Mana franchise, which I've never played admittedly, is finally finally coming to Xbox. Visions of Mana, whenever that comes out, is gonna land on Xbox. The only thing I will say that wasn't very cool from this developer direct was the lack of hard release dates. We got a lot of release windows. Fall 2024, summer 2024, but the only game that actually got a release date was Hellblade 2. So hopefully we'll get more info about that soon. This is also the month where they finally figured out what was causing save files to be deleted off of Xbox consoles in Baldur's Gate 3. I'm gonna go ahead and put that into the good category. To be honest, I haven't been able to confirm this myself because I play Baldur's Gate 3 on Steam, but I haven't seen a lot of people complaining about it, and I haven't seen the news outlets reporting it, and they do every time it pops up, so I assume that it's taken care of. Hopefully we can all move on from the Baldur's Gate 3 Xbox drama, start a new page, a new chapter. This bit of news just came out today, but I'm also gonna put it in the good category of this month. Tom Warren from The Verge recently appeared on Xbox Era, and he had some interesting comments regarding the controller revision that we saw pop up in the FTC court document leaks back in 2023. He says the new controller is supposed to be announced in May, ahead of June showcase. That was in the document leak, and I don't believe that's changed. Some other sources are saying that this new controller, Sibyl, is supposed to be launching on May 24th, the day after my birthday. That's gonna be a crazy week. May 21st, Hellblade 2. May 24th, new Xbox controller. May 23rd, Ray turns 31? Not as exciting. This controller was really exciting to me back when I saw it in the leaks. I'm happy that they're keeping the same Xbox controller design, the one that we all know and love, but they're throwing in some updates that would put it on par with something like the DualSense, really bringing their controllers into the modern era of gaming. Those upgrades allegedly include haptics that double as speakers, an accelerometer, quieter buttons and thumbsticks. Apparently you'll be able to lift up the controller and it'll sense that and wake up. And apparently it's also going to have modular thumbsticks as well. I'm hoping that means it's something similar to what we see in the DualSense Edge, where if you ever get stick drift, you can just go ahead and take that thumbstick out and replace it with a new one. Let's move on over to the bad stuff. Yes, I know, this is an Xbox channel. We should only be talking about the good stuff, but that's not how I roll. I like to be balanced. In this category, I would put, even though I was just saying, oh, let's leave the Baldur's Gate 3 Xbox drama behind, I would put Xbox's response to players getting banned for recording Baldur's Gate 3 scenes in the bad category. I would categorize that as an L. If you need a quick reminder, players were finding that they were getting banned for recording some of the steamier scenes, some of the more PG-13 to R-rated scenes in Baldur's Gate 3. I personally thought it was weird because there's been a ton of games that have launched on Xbox that have violent content, graphic content, explicit content, but for some reason this problem only seems to have come up with Baldur's Gate 3. For me, it all started with this Reddit post of this guy being like, yeah, I recorded this scene that happened at my camp one night, and then I got 9 strikes in Xbox's new enforcement system, effectively banning my account. Thankfully, his ban was reversed, and I walked away from reading that situation being like, damn, this is because of Xbox's automatic flagging system. The footage was uploaded, and then they were like, whoa, there's something crazy with this clip that this guy recorded. Let's flag it and let's ban him. But Xbox's response is what I have an issue with. It's what I'm categorizing as a bad thing that happened this month, because they came out and they were like, no, it wasn't because of the automated system that people are getting banned for these clips. You know, we have a thing that helps us flag content, and then it's reviewed by someone, and then we go forward with enforcement or banning. And I was like, that makes it sound worse. That makes it feel like they're going a little bit too far with this new look enforcement system, which is kind of hard to admit because when they were first introducing all that stuff, the strike system, the voice recording whenever you report a player, I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good in theory. But as time goes on, more and more people are reaching out to me and being like, yeah, I got a strike for this thing, and I'm like, I don't feel like you deserved a strike or a suspension for that. I'm really hoping that they take a second look at this and further refine it, because I do think they have a duty to go and try and curb like crazy online toxicity and harmful content and images, whatever, sure. But they need to be careful, because as fans, the last thing you want to be worried about when you're playing a video game is, oh my gosh, am I gonna get banned? Oh my gosh, I really need to be thinking consciously about what I'm doing right now because I don't want to get suspended. A completely different outfit, because I have to hop on here and list one more L that Xbox took in the month of January. Me and my wife took a little mini vacation yesterday, and literally, as I was getting in the car, this always happens when I'm about to head out of town or do something, news broke that Microsoft was planning to release 1,900 employees from their gaming division, including Xbox, ZeniMax, and newly acquired Activision Blizzard. This represents about an 8% total cut of their workforce. Blizzard president Mike Ibarra is also leaving, and they also, on top of all of this, have canceled Blizzard's upcoming survival game. The Verge was actually able to obtain a memo that Phil Spencer sent out regarding these layoffs. He said, "It's been a little over 3 months since Activision Blizzard King and teams joined Microsoft. As we move forward in 2024, the leadership of Microsoft Gaming and Activision Blizzard is committed to aligning on a strategy and an execution plan with a sustainable cost structure that will support the whole of our growing business, identified areas of overlap, and ensured that we're all aligned on the best opportunities for growth." Now, this is unequivocally an L on Xbox's part, or Microsoft's part, technically. You can justify it however you want. Yes, this is something that typically happens after a merger because there's a lot of duplicate, redundant jobs. Yes, this is something that not only Microsoft is having to do, but people all across the gaming industry, including Riot, Bungie, Unity, Discord, Twitch, all across games and tech. But the fact of the matter is there are nearly 2,000 people who started off the year with a job. Many people like you and me who are probably hyping themselves up being like, 2024, this is gonna be my year, 2024, it's gonna be the best year yet. And now they don't have a job. And yes, we can sit around and say, oh my gosh, that's so terrible, I feel bad, but they'll land on their feet, they'll get another job. Quick question. Where? Like I was just mentioning, all gaming industry giants are laying people off en masse, it seems. It doesn't seem like a ton of people are hiring right now. This is the second year in a row where we've seen significant layoffs from Microsoft. We saw another round last year at around the same time in the first quarter of the fiscal year. And it's just crazy, man. Like, these people, these companies, they hire these devs and these workers to create sometimes insane, impossible projects. They cut their budgets, they give them insane parameters and timelines, and then they just end up firing people and canceling projects. No matter how you look at it, it's an L. And sure, it's probably not going to affect my enjoyment of Xbox games or any of the cool stuff that I was just mentioning coming up in 2024, but it inevitably leaves a sour taste in my mouth, and that is why the layoffs are going in this category, the bad stuff that happened in the month of January. Overall, looking back at the month of January for Xbox, they gave us a lot to be excited for. Developer Direct showed us that a lot of their upcoming projects look very strong and interesting and varied. We got some awesome Game Pass additions to kick off 2024, with many more on the way in the coming months. Thanks to Xbox News god Tom Warren, we also got some new hardware to be excited about. Sibyl, the new controller, and maybe shortly after that, a new console, the Digital Series X. But with these third-party rumors and maybe a shift to an all-digital future, on top of all of those people that are unfortunately going to get fired from the gaming division, you can't ignore that stuff no matter how excited you are for Xbox's upcoming projects. On one end, I want to give Xbox like a B+, but all those jobs lost, I would have to say it's like, it would bring it down to a B, not all the way down to a C+ or less, because I'm excited for games like Avowed and Hellblade and Indiana Jones and all the rest of the stuff, but it's just, the layoffs left a super bad taste in my mouth. Average month, B, that's where I'm settling for the month of January. That's my grade for them. Another Xbox L that I will throw in here as well is the reported cancellation of the Halo Battle Royale being worked on by Certain Affinity. This is a game that we've been hearing about for a while now, and major gaming outlets like Windows Central even gave us a code name for it, Tatanka. This sounded like a fun idea, and I was looking forward to what a Halo game not made by 343 would look like, so to hear that ultimately it didn't work out is pretty disappointing. Of course, Xbox has not acknowledged the existence of this Halo Battle Royale, so I guess how can you miss something that never really existed in the first place? I mean, I guess it could be worse. It's not like Scalebound levels of bad where they were showing us like gameplay previews and trailers and then all of a sudden we're like, psych, this game's not coming out. But I would still categorize it as disappointing. Next up, let's move on to a category that I'm calling questionable or in-between stuff that happened for Xbox this month. I'm throwing in this category because there are some things that happened this month that I'm not entirely sure if they're like like 100% good or 100% bad. Starting off with Xbox reportedly going multi-platform. Jeff Grubb and people at Kotaku have both apparently heard that Xbox is exploring the possibility of bringing some of their older first-party games to other platforms like Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush. These rumors started to get a little bit of heat when Satya Nadella did this recent interview where he said that Xbox can achieve success across all platforms. He further specified, like, I'm talking Xbox and consoles, PC, cloud, wherever. This comes a couple of weeks after Microsoft CFO Tim Stewart was at the Wells Fargo Tech Summit being like, yeah, we want to bring our games and Game Pass to Nintendo Switch, to all platforms that will have us. Phil Spencer pretty quickly denied that they wanted to bring Game Pass to Nintendo Switch or PlayStation, but these third-party multi-plat rumors keep popping up, and like I always say, where there is smoke, there is fire. I'm listing this in the questionable category because it's just a rumor at this point. And even if it was a real thing, there are good things I could see coming from it, and there are some bad things I could see. I would rank it in the fully bad category if they were like, yeah, we're gonna take all of our Xbox games, even the big ones coming up in the future, and making them multi-platform. I would be like, well, okay, what do I own an Xbox for? But games like Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, what do I care if they ship for other platforms? Another thing I would put in the questionable category is Halo reportedly making the switch to Unreal Engine 5. People did some digging on LinkedIn and saw that 343 was working on an unannounced Halo project and that one of their employees was working on building assets in Unreal Engine 5, leading people to believe that they were switching from the slipstream engine that we are familiar with in Halo Infinite to Unreal Engine 5 for this next Halo game. A bunch of people got really mad because when I last talked about this, I said that the engine was the split stream engine, when it is in fact the slipstream engine. Slipstream, slipstream, slipstream. There. I personally don't have any beef with Unreal Engine 5. Granted, I don't know too much about the intricacies of different engines and how they affect development, but here's what my friend who runs the sister version of this channel, PS Ready, had to say when we last talked about it.
Everything is in Unreal now, right? Like even with the next Cyberpunk game, CD Projekt is getting off the Red Engine and moving to Unreal 5, which like that's cool, but we all played Phantom Liberty and saw the big jump even from like a third-person game to Cyberpunk 2077, which is a first-person shooter. Like even in its launch state, that was a really good game and the engine was performing well, and then they did the like next gen patch and then it was performing better, and then now with Phantom Liberty, that is an incredible looking and playing sort of expansion for Cyberpunk that retroactively fixed a lot of the problems with the game. So seeing them move to Unreal Engine 5, that's kind of a bummer. And then now Halo, which the engine started off a little bit rocky, right? Like it was a little technically messy when it came out. Now in Halo Infinite, the multiplayer is incredible, so to see them moving to a different engine on its own, that's a little bit of a bummer. And then on top of that, Unreal has a pretty nasty problem, specifically 5, where this used to affect just PC, but now it's affecting console as well, where when you move between chunks of levels, you'll get slowdown and you can't do anything about it. You'll get like a frame drop from 60 FPS down to like the high 50s for a couple of seconds while it loads in the next part of the level. I just watched a great video on Digital Foundry about this, where they were saying, is Unreal too big for the Steam Deck? And they tested out RoboCop, Rogue City, Immortals of Avium, Jusant, and Talos Principle 2. All of those games are Unreal 5. And every single one of those games, no matter what you do, whether you're on a beefy PC, Series X, PS5, or a Steam Deck, they all have traversal stutter, which I'm someone super noticing of that, having played through the last generation on PC. It was gnarly in games like Dead Space, which is Frostbite, but has the same problem. And it was gnarly in other games too. It's not great that that problem is now on console as well, because even with Dead Space, if you played it on PC, you would get major traversal stutter, and it would be there on the PS5 and Series X, but it would be imperceivable on console. So that's what scares me about Unreal 5 for Halo, knowing that the last time they did a Halo campaign, it was an open world Far Cry style game. You're going to get traversal stutter with Unreal Engine 5. And I'm wondering if that will be a problem with multiplayer as well, or if like the maps are small enough where they're just one big chunk, so you won't have anything to traverse where it loads in a new texture, you know? It really shows that they're going for live service with whatever the next Halo is, right? Like they want something where if something pops off, they can continue to support it versus what we saw in the past, which was like a combined package in the multiplayer, whether it was good or bad, it would be supported for X amount of time. And then it would get a bunch of maps and updates and then they'd move on to the next thing.
Also this month, people started wondering if Xbox is going to be making the change to all digital games, no more physical games, just digital. This memo that was sent out to Walmart's claims associates surfaced online, and apparently Walmart is trying to gather up all the physical copies of Starfield and get them out of their stores, dispose of them. And this action allegedly is funded by the manufacturer, or Xbox or Microsoft. So it's got me and a bunch of people wondering, I did a whole video about this, is Xbox pivoting to an all-digital future? And does that mean that the Series X console that we got at the beginning of this generation is the last Xbox console with a disk drive? And it's not just me, a lot of people have been wondering about it too. I see that the digital Series X has picked up a lot of traction in the news cycles. Major news outlets are reporting it, like Windows Central again. They're like, here's everything we know about Project Brooklyn, the freaking all-digital Series X. I rank this as questionable personally because I don't mind an all-digital gaming future. I know. But I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with it, and it would be stupid of me to ignore that. With news that this Xbox controller revision is going to be announced sometime in May, I'll be curious to see if that is soon followed up with an announcement of the digital Series X. When all is said and done, overall, I think this was a pretty strong month for Xbox. Their lineup of upcoming games looks really strong, making both the Xbox platform and Game Pass look super appealing in 2024. Between these multi-platform rumors, between these going all digital rumors, there is some uncertainty about what direction Xbox is going to head in this year and beyond, and that is kind of hanging over the cool stuff like a little cloud. But those rumors and stuff is not enough to dampen my excitement for the cool stuff that they've been doing. So overall, I give this month a B+. Anyways, guys, that concludes my monthly January review of Xbox. You can give me a follow on Instagram. I have my personal account on there and an Xbox Ready account, and I'm also posting to TikTok as well. And if I don't see you over there, I will definitely be back posting about all the latest Xbox news. You won't want to miss it.